KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has told the Madlanga Commission that Mary Haas has been pressing for the disbandment of the KZN Political Killings Task Team. Mkhwanazi has also told the Commission that Haas and others failed to verify their facts before commenting on the matter. Joining us is KZN Violence Monitor Mary Haas. Mary Haas, thank you so much for your time and for joining us this afternoon. So you wrote a letter in December of 2024 to the Police Minister urging him to shut down the Political Killings Task Team. Thereafter, a letter dated 31 December signed by the Minister of Police then surfaces calling for the disbandment of this task team. The commissioner the provincial commissioner at the commission, as he was testifying, was speaking on how he didn't understand why this was the case in terms of it being called. He even said, I believe someone influenced the minister to make this decision, alluding that it was your letter that prompted for the minister to make this decision.
Okay, I think I've heard you. The sound could be a bit better, so I hope it goes okay. It was before December. I think, I'd have to look back, I think it was around October, that I sent a letter both to the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee and to the Minister. And I asked for, among other things, an inquiry, and I said that I believed it should be disbanded. Because I had horror stories, I had case studies. I mean, I've been monitoring it since it was actually formed back in 2018. And I can write a book about it almost. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think that what I said, I mean, it may have influenced the minister, but I mean, he wouldn't have done it because I asked. Right. I expected the parliamentary committee to actually kind of say this is serious, we'll investigate it, but it ignored it. And but I know that there've been other moments. I mean, if you look back last year, the deputy national commissioner said to General Masemola, the finance deputy, said, we can't afford this team. It's costing us too much money. So there were various factors. It wasn't just me.
So, I mean, he also goes on to say that in your letter you describe the unit as irregularly formed and a misuse of SAP's resources. But on his day one of his testimony at the commission, he outlined how the president gave it the green light, even going as far as forming an interministerial committee that served as an oversight body for this task team. I mean, he speaks also of the successes of the task team, their high rate of arrests and prosecutions, even to an extent that they were deployed to both the Eastern Cape and Gauteng.
Okay, yeah, right. And this is what I've been saying. It was formed by the minister. It was an executive decision, and it wasn't up to the national commissioner to either say yes or no. It wasn't his decision. It had to be a ministerial decision to disband it. That it's grossly irregular. I mean, I can show you, I've worked with task teams in the province since the 90s, and they're set up for very short, specific times. They're subject to, I've got an organogram, they're subject to distinct reporting structures. They're detectives. Neither Masemola nor Khumalo. Khumalo's not even a detective. I've never heard of a task team that's not headed by detectives. Many of the women who serve in it are not even detectives. They come, they go. I mean, there's just no proper structure to it. And I mean, if Mkhwanazi and Masemola and Khumalo think they have this wonderful success rate, I've been trying to get a breakdown for 6 years. Right, which cases are there? Don't talk about arrests, because police make arrests all the time and the cases never go very far. And that's why we've got a huge legal bill that we pay for claims against the police. Let's talk about successes. I was told that yesterday that when he was asked about a breakdown, which cases are there, he couldn't give it, General Mkhwanazi. So, look, it's very easy to check. He can provide the breakdown for the commission. I believe he should also give a complete list of the dockets they've taken, because many of them are nothing to do with politics. I mean, what have they got to do with gross municipal corruption at Nongoma? which is investigated by a stock theft sergeant. It's a DPCI mandate. Read the DPCI mandate. It's nothing to do with the task team.
But what he does mention, Mary, though,
they're escorted by NIU people, which is unheard of.
What he does mention, though, are just some of those breakthroughs that they've made, particularly that have led to the arrests of the likes of Madlanga and KT Molefe. I mean, he spoke of the firearms that have been found that were used in a number of murder cases in the province. The very same firearms, when they were sitting at forensics, were not being linked to many other of those cases. But once the political task team were then able to get onto many of these, they were able to test for themselves and make those linkages. And this is now how we've gotten to some of the breakthroughs that we currently have.
Okay. Look, that could be subject to an audit, because they've been going around. I mean, there's a whole issue there that I don't want to talk about, because I've sent information to the inquiry and they can do the audit. There must be an audit done of every single docket that task team has taken. They must give a precise breakdown. You don't have to take my word for it. What they did was, you see, what I really found outrageous about Mkhwanazi was, he speaks as if we don't have detectives in this province that can do their jobs. We've got excellent detective teams. They're the ones that made the breakthroughs. They'd arrest politicians in 3 key cases.
Right.
The Magaka case, another Newcastle case. The task team came in and withdrew the charges against the politicians. And they're still not reinstated.
Sorry to come in there. I am running out of time. You mentioning the Magaka case. And in his closing, he spoke about public figures that need to take responsibility when making certain reports and not having a one-sided story. Let's quickly just listen in when he made a comment particular to you and the Senzo Mkhwanazi case.
Professor I have never met in my whole life, Professor Haas. This is in academia, a violence crime monitor, analyst in KZN. I expect the learned friends and people that are academians to do research. You do not write something that you did not research. But from what I see, what Haas publishes most of the time, it's a one-sided story. You hear from a person who tells you the story, you don't investigate, you publish it.
So he in fact goes on to speak about how you received information from MP Adams, particular to the Senzo Mkhwanazi case, a case that he says was investigated by General Khumalo, who was a brigadier at the time and was not necessarily in crime intelligence, and he's the one that cracked the case in terms of the vehicle that was used as well as the gun.
He withdrew charges. The task team and the incompetent or worse prosecutor they worked with withdrew the charges against people. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I have been part of that Madlanga case since the Nhlanhla Commission. I was the one that reported to Parliament when Khumalo moved in and seized Tabiso Zulu's phones, maliciously charged him without even a court order. I mean, I've known that case from the beginning. I know that the task team, until the task team came in, the man who pulled the trigger was going to be a 204 witness. A very good senior public prosecutor in our province was working. In came the task team. They stopped him being a Section 204 witness because the Section 204 witness statement names these politicians that they had withdrawn the cases, the charges against.
Right.
Look, I've been through this before. I mean, it's like déjà vu. Nobody believed me back in the 80s and 90s until the Goldstone Commission published its report. They all said, and a journalist phoned me one morning and said, I went into the newsroom, I said, Mary Haas has been vindicated, because people didn't believe me. They didn't have a clue what was going on in the townships.
Wow.
I know how to research. I'm a senior researcher, very experienced.
Mary Haas, thank you so much for your time. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today, but we do appreciate your response to some of that which was mentioned by the Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi at the Madlanga Commission as he was wrapping up his statement this afternoon. So that was KZN Violence Monitor, Mary Haas.